Well, hello, everyone. It's your Chief Visionary, Natasha Davis with Impact Branding, and we have our Unleash experts that are joined with us tonight for our Authors Roundtable chat so that we can go ahead and open up some conversations about business, about marketing, about a whole bunch of really interesting stuff. So I just wanted to take some time to just dive into it, and we're going to have some fun tonight talking about what it really feels like and means to be unleashed. We're talking about the new release book, as you can see there, Unleash Your Millionaire Mindset and Build Your Brand. You have 7 Unleash experts that's telling it all. We're talking about business. We're talking about marketing. We're talking about the ups, the downs. We have Levita Oche that's joining us, and she's from the Prestige Group International. She's going to shed some light into the whole international piece and how to build and expand a team. We also have Miss Octavia O'Connor, the profit maximizer. She says how to say yes to profits. We also have David Nash with Pinnacle Fitness Center. So we're going to get started and we're going to have some fun hanging out. You guys should be able to see us. And I want to jump right in. For those that have not gotten the book, you should definitely get a copy of the Be Unleashed book. It is really, really a university of success. And we're talking about so many key things. So I want to jump right in and say, Levita, when you had your transition, and remember, you did the whole full-time employee route, and then you woke up one day and said, I'm going to make a transition and I want to be a full-time employer. Talk about that journey and when did you make the shift from being an employee to understanding what it really meant to be an employer?
Okay, sure. Well, definitely before I get into my information, I got to give it back up to you. You're doing amazing things with the book, and I'm really excited to be a part of it with you and along with the 6 other authors.
Thank you.
But my journey just really started at humble beginnings, and I started working in corporate America. At the age of 20, very early, graduated from DeVry, got a degree in business, and did very well, did about nearly 20 years. And so what I realized in that process is that even though I was making a 6-figure income, I still found myself living paycheck to paycheck. So I got into real estate, did really well in real estate because I needed another stream of income because it just wasn't enough. And what I realized after all those years, even though I was making this quote unquote good salary, if I made 100,000, I was really only bringing home 60.
Right.
And
the pain.
And just sitting around those boardroom meetings with all the top executives on how we was going to keep this company, keeping this company to $1 billion. And all we talked about was $1 billion revenue and increasing in their revenue and all that stuff. I said, well, if I could just use a little bit of effort to start my own business, maybe I can, promote myself and get on my journey to becoming wealthy and, making millions.
Right.
And so I just kind of had this mindset. I got involved and started another business, and I started reading. I started following wealthy people, and I had to change my mindset. Yeah. And I said, you know what, if I can be successful in this corporate job, I could definitely be successful with my own business. And I just made the shift. Now, I wasn't crazy. I didn't just make the shift overnight. Right. But I did make the shift, and I'm just excited. I mean, I've had some ups and downs, but, in 4.5 years, I haven't had to for anyone else other than myself.
Got you. That's awesome. And it's so inspirational because when you think about, business, right? And we think about what we're doing and where we're going and how we want to get there. One of the things you wrote in chapter 3 of the Be Unleashed book, you wrote in chapter 3, we talked about the junction where opportunity meets victory, your mission, your vision, and your passion. And some of the insight that you brought to the table, you said, when I decided to make the journey to be unleashed, being successful and being rich and becoming wealthy and changing lives, it sounds really good. But then you also said it's not easy. You're not going to get there overnight. You have to really put some work into it. So on your journey, what are some of the things that you did to make that shift? What was some of the work you put in that you're talking about?
Well, I really, really had to study my craft.
Yeah.
I mean, when a doctor becomes a doctor, they don't just become a doctor overnight. And so what I realized in this industry, it takes 10 years to master your craft. And I actually I began to study. And I said, well, if I'm going to do some amazing things, I'm going to need I'm going to need to help enough people to do that.
Right.
And so my passion just turned into just helping other people succeed, because, I was a little bit skeptical going out on my own. And there's a lot of individuals that were in my shoes and they're skeptical as well. So I said, if I can train enough people to, have that same mindset, we can all do some great things. And so I studied marketing, really, really started to work and build on my brand, because no longer are you, promoting a company or a particular business, but you're promoting yourself. So that's just one of the things that I did, and I just continue to study. I just love to read different books on mindset, and just all types of books. So I'm always feeding my brain, listening to audios and CDs, and going to wealth seminars.
So that's almost like reprogramming your mind. And guys, you're hanging out with us. We're at the Authors Roundtable. We're just talking about the journey, and we are talking about the most recently released book, Be Unleashed: Unleash Your Millionaire Mindset and Build Your Brand. You can definitely get a copy of the book off of beunleashedmindset.com. We're actually doing a global virtual book tour this week during Global Entrepreneurs Week. And so we wanted to come and just give you some insight. And so some people will see business and they think it's all gravy and everything like that. So, if everybody could chime in with Lavita, what's the funniest thing, like the myth that was debunked? And it was so funny, it was painful. The most funniest thing in business that came to fruition while you were on your journey. Can any of y'all think of some? Now, not funny, hilarious, but like that was painfully funny. Like no one told me that was going to happen. Can y'all think of any? David, Octavia, Lavita, you guys have any that automatically comes to mind? I know in chapter 1, I did some of those myths debunked. In the book, I did a whole, let's break it down, myth versus truth. And what I said was the things they never told me about business. Can y'all think of anything off the top?
I guess coming from corporate America, I would say having to get used to working every day alone. Yeah, because in corporate, you always have someone around and someone walking in and out of your office, and then you go to working at your home and it's nobody there to chat by the water cooler.
Yeah, you're right. It is a very lonely place. So I think having to be disciplined. I think one that was a myth, and I talk about this in the book, is paying yourself first is the way that it's going to be. You're going to be paid so much, and you're going to be rolling in dough and all that other stuff. And then the truth behind it was, you actually, in the beginning, you're not paying yourself first, because you got to grow the business and you got to build your team. So it's not like you're taking all these massive bonus checks. And I found that painfully funny. I know David, he's been through the journey. David with Pinnacle Fitness Center, him and his beautiful wife, they own the center, and they do phenomenal things here. David, I don't know if your mic is muted or unmuted. But yeah, so can you tell us some little tidbits there about what some of the myths that were debunked for you as you were journeying through this?
Well, when you're going through business, you always think that that you're going to be doing things at a pace that is going to be a fast, quick pace.
Yeah.
But I tell you the truth. Well, business, it takes time. It takes time, and when you're making your marketing calendar and you're making all of these plans, and you think that they're just going to happen right away. You're just going to blow up and be successful.
Yeah.
But what you do is you find out that one thing helps the next thing.
Right.
And so what you got to do is you got to learn from your present and apply it to your future.
That's good. That's good. You know, Lavita, I know that you are constantly moving around, and I know she's sticking and moving right now, and she wanted to bless us with some golden nuggets as well on her journey. Would you be able to share, before you have to jump over to do some more business, would you be able to share with us, when did you learn the value or the craft to building a team? Because see, that's really important. Most people in business, they get used to doing it by themselves. As Octavias said, you're in the office by yourself. When did you learn, and how did you learn to build a team, and a mobile team, like a team that gets up and gets it done?
Yeah, that's sometimes I still think about, like, how did I actually do this for real? But it still kind of goes back to training and just really caring about other people. I just stopped caring about myself, and I said, you know, if we're going to do this, we're going to have to do it together. And I just remember, you know, the team began to grow to, you know, hundreds of individuals and just, you know, around the country and the world. But what happened one day, you know, the team began to fall apart. And just as David was saying, you know, when it fell apart, I found myself having to start over. And I started over just based on what I've learned from the first time. But I really think, you know, just really caring and really being passionate about helping individuals. And then, you know, at that point, not knowingly, I turned into a business success coach.
Wow.
So it's just very exciting. And then I've turned in, you know, to this mentor and just helping people, not just with business, but just, you know, personally as well.
Right.
So it's just been definitely an exciting journey. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that I didn't fail a number of times.
Yeah.
I had to get back up, but I never had a quitting attitude. I just had to figure it out.
That's
and
awesome.
I thought I could just figure it out, but it did take some time for me to figure it out. But, you know, definitely you gotta, you know, always have a winning attitude.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's just my goal. And that's what I just really love teaching other individuals. You know, things are going to get hard. Life is going to throw you curveballs.
Right.
But you got to continue to move forward, have faith, believe, and just trust that you can be successful.
I love it. I love it. And Lavita, you are just an awesome woman, a businesswoman. You're so focused. And what you said was paramount. You cannot have a quitting attitude because it does get hard. This is Lavita Oche. She is one of the 7 experts in the Be Unleashed book. Lavita Oche jumped on to share some golden nuggets. She does have other business to conduct, so she'll be jumping off in a few short minutes. But you can always stay connected with her. Get the copy of the book, Unleash Your Millionaire Mindset and Build Your Brand. Her contact information's in there. And also you follow along with us. You also see how to stay with her. But she's a really great woman to stay connected with. She's focused in business, and having a quitting attitude is just not an option. You know, Octavia, David, as we just keep going, in all honesty, how many times did you want to quit? I've wanted to quit. There's been days this week that I wanted to quit, and the week just started.
I was about to say yesterday.
You know, it's like sometimes you think, God, is this hard? And, you know, I've had moments where I was like, well, let me see what's happening on the job market. I mean, I do have a degree or something I could put to good use, right? And but at the end of the day, what is that one thing that you like, you know what, I can't even do it? Because I know for me, I can share what my one thing is. My one thing that keeps me staying in the race is, number one, like in all honesty, I say to myself, I love my life how it is now. I love my freedom. I love my autonomy. I love being able to do what I enjoy. And I just can't go back. Like, it's not an option. When I think about it, it's like I get a headache. It's like I really can't go back. I just can't. And I think that's the piece that gets me rolling. That's the piece that's like, you know what? You can't go back, because even if you go back, you're going to be so unhappy. You're going to be miserable. You're not going to stay. So leave that position for someone who is going to stay, and get up and go do what you need to do. So that's my thing that keeps me going in those really heavy days. I can't go back. What keeps you rolling, Octavia, David? What keeps you rolling?
For me, it's, do I want to build someone else's dream, or do I want to build my dream?
Mm-hmm.
You know, do I want to show my kids that if you put your mind to it, no matter how hard it gets, you can achieve your goals. You can achieve your dreams. You can go beyond your wildest dreams and imagination. It's going to take working smart.
Yes.
But I would rather build my dream than build someone else's dream.
Fair enough. That's good. David, what keeps you going on those really tough days where you're like, I could just go back to the workforce and work for someone else and not even have to worry about a marketing plan, a business plan, making it work, getting people in the door? What's that thing that keeps you rolling?
That keeps me rolling. It keeps me rolling because I'm not going back. There's no way. I work for another person. Yeah. I went down that route, and I never felt, even it's interesting because before I was into personal training, I was into the Army.
Yeah.
And I did not feel right being under people in the Army, and that's they're like, that's crazy, because you're under so many people.
Right.
But I made it a point to get into a rank in which I could be over people within a few years. I was just like, I have to be over somebody. So when I was in the school system, it was interesting because I was looking to develop some programs to help the community connect with the children.
Okay.
And it was so hard trying to develop those programs because of the administration and some of the red tape that would go on in the actual school system. And so they was like, well, no, we won't worry about that. And it's like, well, this is something that would be good. And
right.
It was like, no, well, that's nice, but
I like that one. That's nice, but
I'm like, so you really don't want to help the kids get healthy, right? Mm-hmm. And so they would talk about it, but they didn't really want it. Gotcha. And so when they cut my position, I was like, great. Now I can do what I want to do, and we're able to not only help adults, but we're actually able to help kids as well get in the best shape and health of their life.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, it's anyone who's known my story, of course, you get the book, Unleash Your Millionaire Mindset and Build Your Brand. You'll see my story, Octavia's story, David Levita. We have Linda Minnick, who's also in the book, Marlene Gordon and Ting Chu. And you'll see their story and their journey, how they got there. And I was a full-time registered nurse, worked full-time in nursing. And there was this day that I remember. I worked my 12-hour shift. I was pretty miserable the whole shift. Not miserable taking care of people, miserable not living my dream, not executing the things that I wanted to do, not doing what I love and what I know that I can do. And so I got in my car and I literally just bawled. Like this, I mean, crying like a blubbering baby, just bawling. And I was thinking, this cannot be what life is, because I feel like almost like stifled, and I hate to say it, but it was like slow suicide, that I was just sitting there and I was literally dying to self, and I wasn't doing what I needed to do. And I know that's a really extreme description, but that's the best way I can. That's exactly how I felt. I felt like I was slowly just killing myself. And then I realized I had to make that shift. And so that's the journey. So it's similar to what you said, David. Like, I would come up with great stuff and I was like, okay, so why don't we try this? And then it's like, yeah, nice, that's nice. And they'd move on. But, you know, Octavia, in chapter 5, you drop some serious knowledge in chapter 5. Chapter 5 is talking about being marketable and becoming your loudest cheerleader. And in that particular chapter, as we just journey through, what does it really mean to move your business forward? And what does it really mean to advance your company and take your company from where it is to where you want it to be? Not only just using marketing, but one of the pieces of the puzzles that you brought to the table was building a business to create profit, not debt. And the knowledge that you dropped in there, the profit maximizer, you shared such valuable information. But if you could kind of surmise it and say, what is the piece of the puzzle that you added? Because, you know, there was a missing piece. And in this chapter, you added the piece of the puzzle.
Well, a lot of times entrepreneurs are so passionate about their craft that they don't spend enough time on the foundation of the business. Right. And the foundation of the business is the money, making sure that your finances are in order. Yeah. And if you don't pay enough attention to that area of business, you'll always find yourself struggling. Right. So in the book, I provided strategies for entrepreneurs to put in place to not only earn more money, which is the top line number, the revenue, but keep more of the money in their business. Because if an entrepreneur finds themselves asking, well, I know I made money, but what happened to it? Right. Or if they are always looking at their competitors, trying to price their services similar to their competitors, then that's a clear indication that you're not operating your business correct as far as your finance. Yes. So in the book, I provided strategies on how to make sure you have a system in place, a system that is simple, something for you to put in place if you're not at the stage where you're ready to find an accountant that will do it for you.
I love it. I mean, you were able to capture so much of information that as business owners, and I was too. I mean, when I started in business, all I cared about was providing the service.
Absolutely.
And making sure that I got better at providing the best service, right? So the whole concept of having processes and systems on growth, it didn't even connect, right? So, you know, Octavia in the book, she goes down the line to talk about the types of processes that you should have and the types of systems. And one of the things she said is, unlike a to-do list, you should be creating a profit generator list, which will focus on those activities that are going to generate a profit increase first. And so you're right. It's instead of all that busy work, you know, because we get into busyness, not business, right? Now, instead of having a to-do list, one of the things you talk about and outline is how to create a profit generator list. Could you speak to that a little bit?
Yes. Well, just as you mentioned, we find ourselves busy being busy. Right. And then we look at our financial reports and our bank statements, and we're like, well, wait a minute, I worked 12, 13 hours. Why I don't have any money? Right. But that's because you're spending your time on the wrong thing. Right. So what I tell my clients to do is to create a list of everything that you have to do. Everything. And then next to that list, I want you to write down the amount of money you're going to earn by completing that task. Right? And if you see that the amount of money you're going to earn is zero, or it's a really low amount, that's the first task that you can possibly outsource to someone else. Okay. And then those tasks that you're going to earn money, like, for example, you're doing whatever your craft is, you're operating within your craft, within your passion, and you invoice the client, you're making money. Right. So how about go ahead and doing that first, check that off the list, invoice your client. Now you have money coming. Now you can go to the next thing.
I love it. I love it. So David, let's bring that into your industry, because David, again, with Pinnacle Fitness Center, has a center, and he has to do in terms of everything. So now you got to work on mindset. You got to do marketing. You got to do the emotions, right? Because you're in an industry that all of this is packaged, and so therefore, when you think about the things you need to do, your profit generator list, what are some of the things as you were journeying and you got to the place where you was like, you know what? This is what I'm doing. This is what I found myself doing, and this was not serving me well. What was that turning point for you in your business?
Well, there was a gentleman that we had spoke, it was about 2 years ago, and he said, don't create systems just to create systems. And
Right.
I'm a systems guy.
Yeah.
I'm a systems guy. And so, I will put in place some systems and I'm checking on these things, but just like Octavia said, does it give you money?
Right.
What does it give you money? And I had to find out that there were some things that I needed to just get rid of because it wasn't profitable. And we need to go right for the things that would help people and also give us profit.
Right.
And those particular items, like she said, things like invoices, those are or phone calls, direct emails. Getting on those emails and phone calls quickly can turn over that business, because that person wants to get there. You want to be able to touch that person when they in an emotional state. Mm-hmm. You don't want to have them forget about you and then you get back to them 3 weeks later or something like that. You want to get to them when they're thinking about you.
That's
okay. And then also when you are with someone, you need to be educated on your particular craft. Nice. or how to I'm not going to say upsell, but how to create more value in your service so that you can give them what they need. Sometimes they don't know what they need.
Right.
You can help them understand what their need, establish the need for them, and so that they can give you more finances.
Right.
So that's basically how it is, because we actually have what we consider like a 3-step process, a system in which we do the evaluation phase and we evaluate our clientele and then put them into our fitness programming and then nutritional programming.
Good.
At one particular time, we weren't doing that. We were just like, okay, here's some of our services. What do you want?
Right.
And so we were just offering our services, and they were just like, some people's like, well, I'm good. I don't want anything. Or they would take the lowest part of our service.
Right. I'll take round A, package A.
Yeah, package A. And so now we are helping to usher people in what they need by doing the evaluation and saying, these are the results. And from those results, here's our recommendations. Good. And from that, it helped us to become much more profitable.
I love that. So just really looking at, like you said, don't just create a system to create it, but create a system with the end in mind. And Octavia is just saying, instead of creating a whole bunch of to-do lists and things you're going to do, build a profit generator list. One of the things that I talk about or I do in my business is I had to, because we all have weaknesses and challenges as business owners. And one of my things is, because I had it in here, everything, I knew what needed to be done. It was right here. But when I started to build my team, I realized that everything was in here and it wasn't out there for them to do. So we were dropping the ball a lot on follow-up. And I promise you, the fortune really is in the follow-up. I mean, it sounds cliche, right? But we've had that before, or heard that before. The fortune is in the follow-up, and it's true. So we were dropping the ball on follow-up. And then when we had things to do, there was, again, no real system or process steps on how to get it done. So it was kind of done haphazardly. And so when you do things haphazardly, you can't count your coins, so to speak, because you never know how did we actually do that? How did we duplicate that? And how can we duplicate that? And so one of the things we had to do for our business, when every company should have a SWOT analysis, strengths, weakness, opportunity, and threats. And some small businesses think they don't need it and they don't need a business plan and all that. But every business should do a SWOT analysis at least every year, because if you do the SWOT last year, it should look better this year. So your weaknesses should become your strengths or your opportunities, right? And you should be maximizing and capitalizing on the opportunity, and you should be mitigating threats. So every year your SWOT should be looking better. It shouldn't be a SWOT analysis that looks the same year after year. And so when we did our SWOT analysis, one of the areas that we found is our circle of influence, our network. We weren't capitalizing on our network. And so we had to look at that. So those are some things that we had to journey through. There's something we talk about, every business goes through it. It's called developmental gaps, right? And so if we can get real transparent sometimes here, it will help. But we have all developmental gaps, right? We got a level of competence and incompetence. And there's a level of competence that we are unconscious aware of and consciously aware of. And there's a level of incompetence that we are consciously aware of and unconsciously aware of. So on the incompetent level, we all go through a phase where we have no idea that we don't know. And most of us sit in that place, not in our skill set, but in all the other areas of business. So we think that I'm the owner or the creator of the business, so I should also be the CFO, the COO, the CMO, the CEO, and all that other stuff, and then be the janitor, the secretary, and all that other stuff, right? But we know our craft, but we have this unconscious incompetence, which a lot of times when I get clients, it's unconscious incompetence. They don't know that they don't have a brand. They don't know that they're not using effective marketing. They don't know that they don't have a strategy. So when we think about that, right, David, what level of unconscious incompetence have you found when you're working with clients that they didn't know that they didn't know, that they thought they were doing the right thing?
Yeah. Well, a lot of times it boils down to habits in nutrition, habits in lifestyle. That's basically what we see a lot of times, that if we do not address those things, those can derail that individual from actually achieving those goals. Yeah. And so you definitely want to have discipline, accountability, and consistency. You have to first have that as an individual, right? But then you have to pass that on as a habit with your clientele.
I love that. Octavia, what's some of the unconscious incompetence that you found with your clients that they really they didn't know that they didn't know?
Well, a lot of entrepreneurs hear the importance of preparing their financial reports. But I think a lot of times what I have found is that they're not clear, one, as to how to prepare them, and two, exactly how important they are to building a truly profitable business. The true measure of a successful business is one that can continuously increase your bottom line. Well, the only way for you to do that strategically, increase your bottom line, is to make sure that you're clearly understanding your numbers. And the only way for you to clearly understand your numbers, and I call it, understanding your UFL, your unique financial language, the only way to clearly understand it, the only way to use it and to use it to grow your business to the next level is to prepare your financial reports. So I love the aha moment that clients receive after we have reviewed their financial reports and a couple of months go by and you give them strategies and you tell them, okay, do this, and they do it. And they see an increase in their revenue, an increase in their profits, their stress level, has disappeared. And they're like, oh my goodness, where did this come from? It came from your financial reports.
Like, oh my God, it worked.
Yes. So
that's,
you know, to summarize it, I think just really clearly understanding and using your numbers to grow your business. A lot of entrepreneurs are not clear on how important that is.
awesome. I love it. Well, we are at the Authors Roundtable for Be Unleashed, and we are here just diving into business and talking about some different things and sharing some of our own personal experiences here, talking about how to unleash a millionaire mindset and build your brand. We have David Nash here with Pinnacle Fitness Center. He's dropping knowledge on us, and we have Octavia O'Connor from Say Yes to Profits. She's dropping that knowledge, and I'm Natasha Davis with Impact Branding. So, David, you were gonna say something a minute ago.
In the book, I unleashed 3 keys.
Yes, I was about to get there. Do it.
Yes, about how to be profitable and healthy at the same time.
Yes.
So a lot of times we just think that, you know, if we just chase this money, everything is going to be okay.
Right.
But what is wealth without health? What is wealth without health? We cannot, continue to put our health to the side and just think that it's going to be okay.
Right.
It is not. And I make reference to those people who are CEOs, those people who are getting the raises all over America. It is shown that the people that are in shape, the people that are sharp, the people that keep their bodies in shape and they look the part, they maintain a higher position.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they get the promotions and the contracts
right
in front of someone else.
Yeah.
Question: if you had 2 lawyers that you are looking at, one of them he looks disheveled. His tie and he or she. Let me say he or she.
Okay, watch out now. We got female attorneys now. Wait a minute, David. Wait a minute.
So he or she looks disheveled. Okay. And they might be overweight. They look sloppy. And they're vying for your service. And then you have somebody that comes in, they look sharp, they speak the right things at the right time, and they always dress to impress. Which one are you going to choose?
That's right.
If it comes down to looking at those 2 individuals, you're going to choose that one who looks the part, who is sharp, and who is in shape.
Yeah. You
got to get in shape, people. Sometimes the first impression is the last impression.
Yeah.
You want to, it's not, although being in shape is for yourself, it does make an impression on others. It does make an impression on others. And so a lot of times people get turned down because their appearance. And I'm sorry to say that, but it's true.
Yeah.
It is so true. And so, we want to make those strides, and you want to make them now. You want to make them now. And those 3 keys, let me get back to the 3 keys.
He's like, I'm trying to tell y'all something now. And wait, let me tell them, it's in chapter 9 of Be Unleashed. It's not work-life balance, it's work-life integration. David is talking about the 3 keys that he shares in the Be Unleashed book. He really dives in and gives us so much value in chapter 9 about work-life integration and getting our bodies on getting our bodies ready. He's talking about reaching your peak performance. And so go ahead and tell us those 3 keys, David.
We talk about fitness, we talk about nutrition, and then lifestyle management. And so those are the 3 areas in which you want to focus on: fitness, nutrition, and then lifestyle management. And that is that triune, thing that is going to help you achieve those results. So if you're just eating well and you don't have that fitness, that stamina, it's not going to work. If you're eating well, you have nutrition, but your stress levels are out of the roof, it's not going to work. You have to have all three working for you, so that you can achieve and accomplish those objectives that you set before yourself.
I love it. I love it. Man, you guys are just dropping knowledge all over the place. You guys have got to get a copy of the book, Be Unleashed. It's Unleash Your Millionaire Mindset and Build Your Brand. I'm going to put that slide back up so you can see the website. We are actually doing our global virtual book tour this week. So you can get it off of Amazon. You can go to the site and get the book. We're doing a lot of great things. The book is also a fundraiser for children back in the Caribbean, underprivileged children. We are providing them with health and wellness and education. So every time you purchase a copy of the book, it's going back to take care of the Lynn Mitchell Foundation, which is a nonprofit to nurture these children. So as we get ready to wrap up, I just want each of you guys to share your perspective on business and when you're in business, what are some of the things that we need to do? What mindset, what framework, what are some of the things we need to do from a personal standpoint, how to stay ahead in business? And so just share your perspective for our viewers here. Octavia?
Okay. Well, you have to believe that you can do it. You have to believe that you're going to reach your goals. Building a business is not easy.
Yes.
And you're going to have your peak seasons versus your slow seasons, your good times versus your bad times. And there has to be something that's going to keep you going through the hard times. Define your why, and your why has to be strong enough to keep you going. And I tell clients all the time, say daily affirmations. Anything that comes after I am building a successful, profitable business, it will come to you.
Yeah.
So mainly just keep going. Define your why, discover why you're doing it, why you are doing it, and just keep pushing through the hard times. And you'll wake up and you'll be in the dream instead of trying to achieve the dream.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Octavia Connor. David?
For your personal development, you have to you have to get to a point in which you are continuing to build yourself up mentally, physically, spiritually. You do not want to let an area be in lack. You really don't. Yeah. So you want to feed your mind, and you want to be around also people that is going to help you to get to the next level by their knowledge. Now, somebody has said, this is a kind of like a famous quote, but if you are around people that are, if you're like the smartest person in the room,
right?
You need to
go to another room.
Find more friends to be around,
right?
Because you need to have people that do not have your skill set, and that's what we look to accomplish this year. I spent about $10,000 in personal development this year.
Yeah.
And so you need to develop your skills. You need to continue to grow, because as you grow, you can help your clientele to grow.
That's right.
How can they grow if you're not growing?
Right. If you become
and so that is very important. And also, not only that, keeping like we continue to talk about systems, keeping up good systems, and don't just think that since your system that you developed a long time ago and worked a long time ago, it's going to work now. No, right. Continue to look back at those systems and even develop more systems. And you want to actually develop manuals. You want to develop things that people can come along and actually take a part, be a part of your program if you are to hire somebody in the future. So right. If you're hiring somebody in the future, that's not the time to develop your training manual.
Right.
That's not the time. You know,
Right.
you can't train them then. You need
Right.
to be developing your training manual now. Look at the systems. Write down the steps to your systems. Write down the steps for things that you cannot handle, but you know that you want to happen in your business.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can go out and actually find a person that can do that particular thing, whether it be marketing, admin, or whatever. But at least they'll have a task or a office manager task list or something, a checklist where they can follow those guidelines and be able to be successful. Because in order for you to be successful, you need to be able to be able to delegate.
Right. I like that. Yeah. Delegating is important. And what I'll share with you guys as we're wrapping up, one of the things I'll give you is whatever your craft is, whatever your profession is, you need to be more. You need to be the best at it. You do whatever it takes to be the absolute best. You study whatever you need to study. You take whatever classes you learn. You have to be willing to sacrifice to be the best. And I ask you today in business, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to be the best? What are you willing to sacrifice in order to have a profitable business and a thriving business and a business that generates revenue to pay you and pay your staff? What are you willing to sacrifice? Are you going to sacrifice procrastination? You're going to sacrifice fear? Are you going to sacrifice lack of knowledge? Are you going to sacrifice, the ego? What you willing to sacrifice to go get your books looked at by Octavia Connor and say, you know what, this is what's been happening and tell me what's wrong. To go get yourself in shape and say, you know what, I've been listless, I've been tired. I've been to David many a times. I said, David, something went wrong. Right there, I told that something went wrong, David. Something went wrong. But what are you willing to sacrifice in order to have a profitable, successful business? And when you make that distinction, that is when you will be unleashed, and that is when you will be able to build your brand and get to the next step. So I'm so excited you guys were able to visit us here and join us for the Authors Roundtable. I thank you again. We have 7 Unleash experts in the book. Please go to the link, get a copy of the book, and share it with others. A lot of valuable knowledge in there to move your business from where it is to where it wants to be. Once you go to the website, you'll find all the information. And of course, you can find information about myself and all of the authors on impactbrandingconsulting.com. That's impactbrandingconsulting.com. Again, I thank you so much. You guys are awesome. And thank you for joining us at the Authors Roundtable. We are here to be unleashed.